Hey everyone, it's me, it's B-R-E-N-T. I'm Brent, your content creator for the YouTube channel PathandTarot, as well as the webmaster of the blog of the same name. So here we are in a unboxing video, and we're going to be working with Gypsy Witch fortune telling playing cards. There, if you can see that, they're in the camera, by US Games. Basically cards that are tapping into the playing card imagery for fortune telling. And so I'm really excited to work with these cards, as well as almost dealing with a follow-up to the few articles I've published already on playing card meanings for fortune telling, as well as an original playing card spread I came up with called Opening the Devil's Triangle. Both articles are really a combination of other sources put together to create something new. So in a way, what represents is my list of playing card meanings is derived from other sources that are much older than this. So it's going to be interesting to learn about this fortune telling system, compare it with another system, and just see the difference. Already we've been able to learn that the meaning of the playing cards has a relationship with the tarot's minor arcana, but there are still some differences, and so I'm expecting there to be also some differences with this fortune telling system compared to what I was able to put together with the playing card meeting. So I'm really excited to open this up for you and see what's in it. I've just recently learned about these cards as well too, so I really don't know a lot about them. I'm not sure who even designed the cards. I sort of did this intentionally so that when I open up the package I can experience all that with you on camera, and you can capture my intrigue from it, and you'll be able to experience the exact same things I feel and experience here on camera. So we'll be able to find out more about who made these cards. Maybe there is a few people involved, maybe an artist, as well as someone who's written out the instructions, because we know the Rider-Waite-Smith deck is a collaborative effort, much like other tarot decks that you'll find. There's a collaboration happening, usually with an artist and someone who's writing out the instructions or the meanings of the cards and all that. So it'll be interesting to learn that. We'll open up the cards, we'll experience it, we'll look at it. I've got some playing card decks off to the side, so we'll be able to compare sizes. I've got a pocket knife and a ruler here. Like I said, I have my own meaning of the playing cards off to the side too, so we can work with the comparison. We'll play with the cards. Maybe we'll do a reading for you, just like a quick reading to see maybe the flavor of the personality of this deck. I find every tarot deck or every sort of divinity system has personality that you can detect, and I'm curious to know how this speaks and what that experience is going to be like. So we're going to capture all that live. This is going to be about possibly an hour and 15 minutes for the video. You may be thinking, well, Brent, that's a long time. That's like a movie. Why does it have to be so long? Well, I want to have it to be so that we can capture all of the fine details of an experience through improvisation. And just letting things play out the way it is. Doing editing, putting together a script and all that is great. There's really nothing wrong with that, but I want to deliver to you a different experience. And I feel the only way to really do that is to perform a presentation live like this and just go. There's going to be, I'll misspeak a lot, I'll and ah, and have weird pauses, I guess, but that this is all part of the interesting artistic blemish, which I find to be a better sense of, well, I was going to say perfection, but I guess that's a bad word, because really perfection, there's no way to achieve a high level of perfection. There's always got to be some sort of blemish, because that's really what makes things beautiful. is the blemishes and the seams of where things get put together. So yeah, maybe that serves as a good explanation as to what's going to happen and how you're going to experience it. But we're just going to go. We're going to run out the camera, like I said, about an hour and 20 minutes on the camera. About 5 minutes into it, I've got a stopwatch here so we can kind of keep time a little bit. And I'll just quickly go over the marketing concepts and the affiliations I have with Amazon and other sources. I want to just have this as a quick moment to just be transparent to you, the audience, so that you know really what this is all about. A lot of these products will be in the description through the Amazon Associates program, which you can purchase, by the way, if you choose to, and if you do choose to, it does provide me with some level of commission, which I feel sort of gets shadowed by the experience you'll have with the products that you then purchase for yourself. So I see it more as an informative thing that will provide you an easy way for you to experience these products, these cards, and have a good experience with that. There'll be these cards, some other things in the description. I usually put the camera in there just so that you see the what went into the production of these videos. So all those elements will be a part of what's in the description as far as the Amazon Associates links as well. And there'll be some other informative links to talk about some of the other concepts we'll get to at the end of the video. After we do all this reading and all the other stuff, we may end up talking about some deeper topics, and whatever we get into, I'll be able to have as informative links. And then you can visit my website too to read about the playing card meetings, learn about the opening the Devil's Triangle playing card spread, if you're interested in that. And as well to take some time to sign up for the mailing list if you can. That'll keep you informed of what's happening on the website. I do have somewhat of a production schedule, but I sort of like to keep that open-ended to ensure a high level of quality, so that I'm not putting stuff out there that I don't feel is ready. So which means that it'll sort of be all over the place, I guess. And then subscribe on the channel as well too, so that you can stay up to date as well. Because again, like I said, the schedule will be sort of it'll be bootstrapped in a way, so that I can do videos that I think will be of high information quality, essentially. So there you go. That's the transparency stuff. So let's get into it. I get really nervous right before the unboxing, because once this gets unboxed, that's it. I can't put the shrink wrap back on. So I kind of get anxious with that. But I do that in other videos too, which is weird. Because as soon as the shrink wrap, once I get into the shrink wrap, yeah, it's kind of just gonna have some water. I just get just performance nerves, I guess you could say. I was a musician in my past life, and there's never really a way to get around it. You just have to be with it and accept the performance nerves. But once you get into it, it's all good. All right, okay, so here we go. U.S. Games, Gypsy Witch, fortune-telling playing cards. There's a package. Really cool. So let's talk about the package. I love the color. Orange. I've always been very attracted to the orange color. I remember I read this book once. It's on my shelf. I can see it right now. Generation X by Douglas Copeland. I remember seeing that on the bookshelf because it was orange, and I read it because of that reason. And so whenever I see orange like that, it reminds me of that a pretty cool book. And so the orange color of this strikes me, and it really captures my attention. Yeah, I like it a lot. There's a sense of minimalism to that. It's very simple. It's just a picture of a witch with her cat, and she's kind of stoking the fires of a kettle. So that's pretty cool. I like that, and it shows you I guess probably a demo of what the cards will look like. So this is US Game Systems, one of the leading companies that publishes and sells playing cards of all kinds, tarot cards, all that. Let me just see if there's a publication date or something, because again, I don't know who made this. It just says with instructions. Gypsy Witch fortune telling playing cards. Made in Italy, but that doesn't really say much. Okay, well, let's open it. Here we go. So basically it's just your regular package, but this is shrink wrapped. So this is cool. So the instructions are right there. Extra joker. That's kind of funny. It literally says extra joker. So I don't really actually need my knife, so I can put that away. Because it looks like I can just rip open the shrink wrap here. So here we go. Whoa! Oh, can't go back. All right, put this just in my pocket here. All right, so here we go. The cards are officially opened. Whoa! Hey, look at that. Interesting bag. Extra joker. So look at this. This is like a purple. It's like a purplish. Maybe the camera, the lighting, it's a little bit off. Maybe it looks more blue in the camera, but to me, this is like more of a. It has a more purple color to it, just the way I'm seeing it. It's really cool. So it's just like the logo right on the cover, but they've added a moon to it, and they've added some shadows as well. Yeah, that's pretty neat. There's no symmetry with that, I guess. So that's interesting. But I guess once we see the cards, I'll know how that symmetry relates to the cards as well, because that's always something to consider. Okay, so here's the instructions. Very simple, very small. So okay, that's it. That's pretty cool. Let's see what I can discern or figure out from this rule set. So who made this? What's the publication date? Gypsy Witch fortune telling cards. So it's trademark of US Playing Card Company. Okay, great. What else? Lenormand, the celebrated French mystic, has left such an imprint on history that any more than a cursory reference would be superfluous. Okay. So, Mélie Lenormand. So maybe that. So this seems like it has French origins with these cards. So, Gypsy Witch, French. That's interesting, but I guess what's kind of cool is that when you hear gypsy, you sort of have like I don't know, like there's a Slavic or maybe a Russian connotation to that. But I guess gypsy just also means it can be from anywhere. I guess really they're sort of I guess nomadic, meaning that they travel a lot in separate in their self-contained. Culture, yeah, sorry, anyways, I'm getting off track, but yeah, Gypsy Witch, so Gypsy Witch, so I guess this has a connection to France, the time of Napoleon. So it's a woman that made this by the looks of it, Mélie Lenormand, so it's hard to say, hard to understand what if that's male or female. So so that's really cool. Her wonderful system. Okay, so there are some methods in here for a short reading. So there's a way to do short and long readings. That's great. It looks like you have to remove certain cards from the deck to perform a short reading. And then the cards are arranged in a square. And then there's a long reading. So it looks like it's using all of the cards for a long reading, which is very interesting. So that kind of reminds me of the Lenormand system. And isn't that interesting that Lenormand, Malie Lenormand is the name in here, Lenormand. Maybe we have a connection. That's very interesting. Because the Lenormand cards have specific imagery on it, but they're a limited deck that's about 30 some odd cards. I believe it's 36. I'd have to double check that. But the cards are arranged in a grand tableau, so you use all the cards to do a reading, and you're putting together combinations of cards to come up with answers for what you want to know. So it seems like this has a system similar to the Lenormand system by the looks of it. Which is that's pretty cool. This is very interesting. Okay. Yeah, it seems very in depth. I'm not gonna perform the readings mentioned in this because I think it's a little bit more complex to learn just on the spot like this. But I will definitely attempt to figure this out, and maybe we'll do another follow-up video in the future once I get a hang of this. But this seems like it has quite a high level of complexity because, again, like I said, we're using a lot of cards. The more cards you use in a reading, the better the reading is. So when you do readings with like 2 or 3 cards, you're limiting your ability to perform and get a lot of information from it. So, you know, it's good for practice. If you want to do like a 1-card reading a day, you know, that's really to me, that's just trying to learn the meaning of the cards. But if you're actually going to do a reading, using as many cards as you can is the best way to go. And it seems like for this, that's really what it's pointing us towards, is using a lot of cards to do a reading. But I can't get a publication date out of this. It doesn't say. It really just says U.S. Playing Card Company, Stamford, USA. So that's it. Okay, that's pretty cool. I don't know when this would have been made. Maybe there's a hint in the cards here. I'm just gonna flip through the cards myself. I'm not gonna show you all the cards. I don't know how that would work with the copyright stuff, but we are doing a review here, so I think we'll be okay. But I'm just going to flip through the cards real quick. I'm going to just pull out the jokers. It's cool. Extra joker, joker, extra joker. That's kind of interesting. Let me just count them to see if we got all the cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. These are all the spades, ace. Okay, diamonds. Clubs. Okay, so that's it. Good to go. Alright, so I'll show you a few cards here. I'll show you some of the diamonds. So the way these cards are structured is you have in the top left-hand corner the original playing card, and then around it you have like a design, and then the meaning. So number 9, so the ace of diamonds is number 9 in its meaning system. The birds signify dire misfortune and fierce enemies when near, if far away from the person with 7, 16, 12, or 22 between chance to avert evil spell. That's very... So already, that is very different from the Ace of Diamonds, which, if we were to look at the meaning of playing cards, Ace of Diamonds is future news, new beginning, advantages, or material opportunities, and the Ace of Diamonds here is... I'm not really sure what that could mean yet. So, dire misfortune is what it's saying on the card. It seems to imply maybe a long distance message, if far away from the person with 7, 16, 12, or a chance to avert the evil spell. This is very cool. it seems like a lot of these cards are relating to other cards in the deck, and they have numbers. So the Ace of Diamonds is number 9, if you can see that. Very, very cool. Yeah. So what are we doing? Consider the inner square first. Top row. I'm just trying to see if I can figure out what the numbers mean or how they're arranged, because that's something that's very unique already, that's not really mentioned in any article I've written about cartomancy or the meaning of playing cards. Is they have their own number system in this, and that is, yeah, cool. I guess it doesn't mention this. It says to remove 18 and 19. So 18 would be this card, 2 of diamonds. So remove 18 and 19 from the pack, temporarily shuffle. So you would include the Joker, one of the Jokers, in this. So you'd be removing 2 cards, including the Joker. Okay, well let's just keep going to see what else is happening. So it looks like here, I'll show you another few cards. So it pretty much has the same format. So you've got the sorry if you can see that there. So you've got the playing card design here, and then outside of it you've got something more unique to it. So an anchor. That's pretty interesting because the anchor appears within the Lenormand fortune-telling system, as well as the Russian Gypsy cards by S.A. Tukov. That's something that I use personally to use a different system of fortune-telling. It's very, very, I mean, I love it. I don't know, I'm sort of speechless when it comes to those Russian Gypsy cards. But this is cool. It seems like they're tapping into the same imagery, really. Anchor denotes successful ventures in business and love, and surrounded by 11 surrounded by certain cards, breach of trust. So it's giving us instructions on how these cards mean, which is pretty cool. It's very intuitive. And so the anchor, that has the same meaning as the Lenormand cards too. It has a positive meaning. It means that you know, there's a level of success in grounding, being grounded. Nine of Diamonds is heart. So what is the Nine of Diamonds for what the playing card meanings? The cartomancy. Nine of Diamonds, preparing for harvest, saving for next harvest, conservative success. So it seems like there's already some differences happening with these cards, which is really cool. But there are a few similarities, I guess. Maybe Nine of Diamonds has a similar meaning. Yeah. Jack of Diamonds that I have right here. That's pretty cool. Jack of Diamonds is an envious young man who brings news, a deceptive person, potentially within the cartomancy playing card rules, but this Gypsy Witch system is saying the rider is a sure sign of good news. So the rider appears as well in the Lenormand system, so I'm very tempted to conclude that these Gypsy Witch fortune-telling playing cards are somehow connected to the Lenormand system, as well as the Russian Gypsy cards by S.A. Tukov. Svetlana, I believe, is what stands for the S. I guess what I'll do, because this is it's fascinating, because I would have never, I mean, who would have known that could be the case. So, I mean, I guess what I'll do is I'll put those links in the description so that you can go check out those cards for yourself. Because, I mean, really, all this imagery that I'm seeing, this is all found in those fortune-telling systems, like the anchor, the heart, the rider, the lion, I don't think is in there. It looks like there's some other unique designs, but there's the scythe, number 8, 10 of diamonds scythe. The scythe presages, I don't know that word, that's funny. Learned a new word here. The scythe presages disappointment and when near coffin, early death. Okay, so there's a coffin imagery in here, and again, that connects to the Lenormand as well as the Russian Gypsy cards as well. There's a letter, King of Diamonds, authoritative man, high status, influence, possibly risky business. That's what I have here. This says the letter is a good sign of good tidings when near. Yeah, okay, so this is awesome. This is so cool. I wasn't even, I would have never thought that there would be this level of connection to other systems, other fortune-telling systems. We've got a rose, rod, shepherd. And so this is cool. So the ace of spades here, let's look at the ace of spades. 2 swords, number 37. The rapiers warn us against assaults which threaten and will occur sooner or later according to the distance from the person. So I guess the person is meaning number 18 or 19, because the Lenormand has the gentleman and the woman as signifying the person in the reading. So number 18 looks like is the lady here in this system. So no, I think that's what it's called, the lady and the gentleman in Lenormand. I have to double check, but you could also find that out for yourself as well, very, very easily. That information is readily available. So let's find 19. Yeah, I'm not sure how the order works because it looks like it's out of order when it is in suits, like when it's arranged by the suits properly. The numbers are out of order, so I'm not sure where 19 is going to be. But we'll find it. 11. Oh, here it is. Okay, so yeah, that's what I thought. The gentleman. I knew it. I knew he'd be in here. Gentleman. So gentleman and the lady. You know what? Let's go get the Lenormand cards. This is just too much. This is too much. Got my case here. This is the level of connection to the Lenormand cards is too much to handle right now. I'm not going to get the Gypsy cards yet because they have a very special system. But let's do, so this is the Lenormand cards, so let me just get a quick look at that. So there you go. How interesting is that? Let's find, so here's the gentleman. Let's find the lady. There we go. And I'll get the trusty guidebook as well too. You can hear me move around a bit. Sorry about that, but that's just the way. That's the way it goes in this video. The gentleman and the lady. Okay, so I was right. So lady and the gentleman. That's what they're called. Wow. Okay, so this is cool. There is an incredible connection between the two. You've got the gentleman as a heart and the lady as a spade. But we have a difference here too. Look at this. So the gentleman is also a heart, but the lady is a diamond. Now look at the numbers, 18, 19. So if you can see that, 18, 19. The Lenormand is 28-29, so there's a difference of 10 between the two. But the Gentleman is 19 in the Gypsy Witch, and the Gentleman is 28 in the Lenormand. So it's like there's, yeah, it's like I don't know, some sort of subtle difference. But wow, yeah, there's definitely a connection. Like holy cow. Let's just move the cards around a little bit. Let's look at the size. I'd like to talk about the size of the cards. Here's a playing card here, so I don't know if you can see that. There you go. So the playing card, this is a Maverick playing card, so it's basically the same size, except the edges are rounded a little bit more. If you can, I don't know if you can see that. The edges are rounded a little bit more on the playing card, but it's pretty much the same size. The Lenormand card is it's a little taller, but it's almost the same size with its width. Or how wide it is, I guess you could say. It's about 6 centimeters, 10 centimeters, so this is just under 9 centimeters tall and about just over 6 centimeters wide. That's pretty cool. So these are very much similar to the playing cards, to the size of playing cards, which is great. I like that because they're familiar in your hand. That's a thing, with tarot cards. They come in various sizes. Sometimes there's tall tarot cards, French tarot. Those cards I have are a lot taller, but they're thinner. And then there's some cards that are thicker, or they're more wide, and they're also taller. So they're bigger cards overall. Having small cards, I think is nice because I have the Aleister Crowley Thoth deck. It's like a miniature deck, so it's very small. It's a lot smaller than these cards. And that feels nice to shuffle with and play with. So the size of cards, I think, does make a difference. Let's move the Lenormand book off to the side. Okay, so yeah, how about that? We uncovered some pretty interesting connections through these cards. I would have never thought. I thought this would have its own unique system, but it parallels to a lot of other fortune-telling systems and connects well with them. I'm just going to thumb through some of these cards and see what else is here. There's road imagery on the Ace of Clubs, tree. Yeah, so if you were to look through the Lenormand deck, you're going to see all of the imagery in this and more, because there's 50 some odd cards in here. There's a fox, sun, fish, moon, house, stork. Actually, these are all, most of these, as I'm going through them, they're all part of the Russian Gypsy fortune-telling cards. I don't want to bring them out because the imagery is scattered. They have to align to have the imagery come together. Actually, I will show you because I think this is important as we're kind of getting to some interesting points with cards and their tradition and how the imagery works. Yeah, this is going to be a mash anyway, so whatever. So you'll see what I mean. So these are the Russian Gypsy cards. They're pretty much exactly square, but you have to move them that way to create the image. So that's where the randomness comes into play in the sense of fortune telling, is that it's random. So when you lay out the cards, it's a 5x5 grid, and then you can't move these cards around, but you can turn them like that. So sorry if you can. So you have to make the image that way. And so there's about 50 images, and each image has about 4 different meanings. So this is quite a complex system in itself, which is why I didn't want to talk too much about it, because I can't really show you. Well, actually, I can show you one of the images here because I found a connection. So there's a horseshoe image. So that's how it would work. You would have to turn them to make the image, and then that would be, you would read that, the meaning of this for your fortune. But all of these images seem to be present, or most of them, in this Gypsy Witch deck. So I'm willing to bet there's a horseshoe in here somewhere. Let's find it. Wow, this is incredible. I like these cards already. Snake, order, wine. That's very interesting. So this has a wine symbol. There's no horseshoe. No horseshoe. How about that? The one thing that I thought would be in here is not in here. Let's go back to the diamonds. Anchor, okay, yeah. Wine, flames. Oh, there you go. Yeah, no horseshoe. So that's interesting too. So it has imagery that's not present in the other systems, the Gypsy cards or the Lenormand. So yeah, I'm sort of speechless right now as I'm just looking through these cards. This has clover. I know clover's in the Russian Gypsy cards. Wow. Very cool. So here we go. Let's go back to the reading. So short reading number 18 and 19. Okay, so that makes sense because that's your gentleman or lady. So whoever you're reading for, if it's a male or female, you would use those cards to place that person into the reading so that you can see what cards relate to it, which means you, the person being read for, or yourself if you're reading for yourself. That's very useful. And that's consistent with Tarot's sitter cards or significator cards, which is the Magician and the High Priestess. They're used in similar ways with the gentleman and the lady. In certain types of spreads, the placement or where those cards land have a relation to other cards around it, and it changes the reading and kind of helps focus well, puts you the reader or the person being read for into the reading. So it's very helpful. So if you're not familiar with the significator card system in tarot, or the sitter card, if you will, I believe that's the sitters referred to in the Letterman. Look into that, because you'll get a lot more out of the reading when you have a symbol of yourself in the reading as well too. Yeah, very cool. So wow, that's fantastic. We learned a lot already. You got to see some other decks, and you got to see that there's a clear connection between other types of decks, and there's a very clear difference between just regular playing cards and what their meanings can be compared to this system in itself. So how cool is that? Okay, well, let's just do a real simple reading. Let's not do anything fancy. I know I talked about having more cards to do a reading, and maybe I'll eat my words, but just for the sake of time, maybe we'll do a few cards and just see what that says. But still, using more cards is the way to go. So do as I say, not as I do, I guess. Adult words. Adults tend to say that, I find. So I'm just going to shuffle up the cards. Let's do a wash. Let's just see how these cards feel actually very nice. I like the texture of the cards. They have a very sturdy feel to them, yet they're very smooth. This is more glossy, or I'm not sure how to describe it, more slippery on the Maverick cards than compared to these cards. But both are unlike the bicycle cards. The bicycle cards have more of a grainy texture, and they're more slippery. These have a little bit of I'm not sure how to describe it there. You can grasp onto it a little bit easier. Yeah, okay. That's cool. I like that. These cards feel very nice. I'm not sure about the back design. I don't know. I like the... Well, I guess in this case, these cards aren't symmetrical. So if you were to read this upside down, you would have... These cards need to be read right side up, by the looks of it. I don't think there's anything in this that indicates a reverse meaning. And reverse meaning is really coming from using the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. If you're using that deck, there are reversal meanings built into those cards. So that's I consider that to be sort of unique to that tarot system, because you don't see that in other tarot decks. A lot of other tarot decks have their cards meant to be read right side up. And you can sort of look for clues. Like I said, the symmetry of the backing of the cards can be maybe a hint to know if there's a difference between up and down, right? But that's not always the case, of course. You know, those are just things you have to weigh as you consider all the factors of a deck, because every deck is unique. It presents its own unique flavors, and it has its own voice. But well, after we do a reading, we'll talk more about systems, divinity systems, playing card systems, because I think there'll be some extra value for you there if we talk more about that. But let's do the reading first to see what can happen. So what should we ask? I'm going to just keep shuffling so that you, the viewer, can maybe focus your intention a little bit into these cards and ask a question for yourself. And then we're going to see how it works. I'm thinking of my own question. I've already got it in my head, actually, and I'm just focusing on it. But maybe you have something different you want to know. So let's do this as a test in real time to see if your intention can change these cards, maybe, or maybe what you are thinking of. Maybe it's just reinterpreted. Maybe the cards will be as they are no matter what, and are just our separate intentions change really what it means. So, are you thinking of something? You can think of anything. A lot of common questions I find in tarot reading is to do with love, relationships, people, other people. Maybe not necessarily love, but people are usually curious about other people. Maybe you're wondering about that. Or maybe you're moving and you're wondering if the move is going to be okay, or if your partner that you're with, maybe you're wondering if they want to go to the next level, maybe to take the relationship to the next junction point of life, move in together or something. Who knows? Maybe you're thinking about that. Maybe there's something to do with work, a promotion. You've been working really hard and your boss is shutting down all your work and you don't know why, and you're trying to get a promotion, but it seems like that's not really in the cards as they say. There's barriers at work, maybe. I don't know. The possibilities are endless. I think these cards are shuffled enough. So, what type of spread should we do? Well, let's just put these cards in the order of opening the Devil's Triangle. Let's see how that works, because I know how to do that spread. I've got the instructions right here, and we'll see how that works. I'm not going to play the game Beat the Devil. Maybe I should. How much time do we have? Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do the full spread. I'm going to close it. So I'm going to do this version. So let's just go quick. Oh, there you go. So I've got to turn it up. So every time you get a pair, you just draw another card on top of it to get your next card. You've got 10 piles to fill up. If you fill them all up and you haven't used your cards, you've lost. So that's part of the reading introduces a sort of a win-lose scenario. and you can use that as a positive or a negative meaning towards the whole reading. And then you can use that as separate interpretations too as you're going through the cards. So there we go. So this is part of the game element of the reading. So 4, 7, 9, there's no matches here. Okay, so we're still in focus on the camera. I'm just going to move these cards. So ace. Okay, so then we're building upwards. I'll draw the next card here. 4, nope. Ace. 7. This is 7. Guess I just have to, yeah, just draw the cards, flip them upwards. That makes the most sense. So 4, 6, 9. Let's see. Nope, I got 4s. 10s. This is kind of difficult to read them because I have to look at these, and I've got this on the as like a border, which makes it challenging to use tarot cards in Beat the Devil. You'll find it's visually distracting. It's easier to play the game with playing cards or French tarot. 6. Okay, so draw another card here. 5, 2. Nope. Okay, let's draw another card here. King. So I've got a king. King. 3, 8, 2 things. No. Okay, so then I'm drawing another card here, and I've got one more pile left, so I'm making this triangle. 4. Let's see. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think we're gonna be no good on the win here, but that's okay. You know, this is all right. This is falling in line with what I'm asking the cards, so this is good. It's playing into my plan already. I wonder what you asked. I wonder what you were thinking about, and maybe you can see some results already as we're unfolding these cards and drawing them out. I'm not seeing any other matching possibilities. 5, 6. Okay, well, let's do the. Yeah, let's do the last one. So Jack, there we go. So we didn't beat the devil, which is part of opening the devil's triangle. So that means there's somewhat of a incompleteness or a meaning that we could use that could put some negativity into these cards. But I like to just think of that as incomplete. The message is not finished yet. So, you know, that maybe falls in line with the reversal cards, you know, reversal Rider-Waite-Smith cards. You know, I like to read those as more information is needed, incomplete, unrealized potential, that sort of thing, instead of just having a negative meaning. You know, which is fine. You could still do that, but I think it's more helpful to use incomplete as a better idea. So what do we got here? So, all right, so my question was, show me how to do a good reading for my viewers, the people watching. And I think that was pretty good because we were able to demonstrate a few things to do with the spread itself and work within the context of winning or losing. So I was able to describe for you what losing could mean for you as the reader or the person being read for if someone's doing this for you. That it's winning or losing. You know, it's cheesy to say, but it's not about how you win or lose. It's about how you play the game. You know, that's a very old saying. You know, my parents taught me that is to promote good sportsmanship. But there's a level of that I like to put into this fortune telling reading. Is like, okay, well, we didn't win, but is that completely negative? Well, you know, I don't know. Again, I like to see that as just incomplete. Let's, you know, because we could try again. I could reshuffle these cards and maybe go the opposite direction and open the devil's triangle and gain a better insight. We would probably win that time because the odds of winning with 10 piles and using the beat the devil rules are actually quite high. So the more piles you have, the easier it is to play the game. But there's still a chance that you can lose even with 10 piles. 10 piles, which is actually I'm quite happy that I was to show you that. So in a way, my part of the fortune came true. So I could demonstrate for you some of these things that would hold value. So let's read these cards. So 6 of diamonds. Let me just get the paper out. So the way it's set up with the opening the devil's triangle is that this column represents you already looking at the situation. You know, you would use this version of the spread to try to tackle a complex situation, something that you've been thinking about already. So you would have already had a good grasp of it. So, you know, looking back, knowing what you already know, what can you do to simplify the whatever it is you're asking. So for me, it's, you know, how can I simplify the reading for you? And so this column here is carrying out the plan. So what's actually going to be done to carry out the plan? This column here is devising the plan, and then this focuses down to the last card is understanding the problem. And usually when you get to this last card, it should be positive, or it should give you a sense of completion. Otherwise, you know, you're left with an open-ended fortune, and that can be troublesome. You may just make you may want to do the whole thing again. So again, you know, that's where the incompleteness comes from, I feel. So let's see what this last card really is. Number 52. That's cool. It's number 52. The shepherd indicates an intense love of life and strong fellow feeling. Oh, that's a pretty good card. The Jack of Spades in playing card meanings is actually not so good. It's an aggressive young person, toxic individual, or a rebellious person. So a rebellious young person. So that wouldn't be too positive. But with these cards, it seems to be a positive meaning. So let's look at these cards. Number 48. The money safe indicates riches. If shut side, the money safe indicates riches. If shut side is toward the person, it denotes loss by speculation. Okay. Number 16, the ship, the symbol of riches. Well, that's cool. So there's a sense of money with these two cards that are connected. Indicates wealth, inheritance, trade. So that's kind of cool. So there's a sense of wealth or inheritance within this first part of the playing card spread. A bouquet of flowers. Absolute indication of long and happy life. Wow, this is pretty cool. If children are nearby, extraordinary honors and fame. So this is this is pretty cool. So far so good. The lion presages sudden shock from bad news. So that's not so good, but that's okay. The lion is a strong individual, so it could mean that the sudden shock of bad news is something I can overcome. I wonder what that could be, what bad news there is. Maybe it would be bad news from US Games saying, hey, don't use our cards in a video. But this is a review video too, so, you know, there's that. That's just me thinking out loud, I guess. I don't mean to project that into the video, but that's just how it is. The anchor denotes successful ventures in business and love. That's good. So this is pretty cool so far. Railroad, long journey. That's interesting because, yeah, this is a long journey. Being a content creator on YouTube is hard work. Being a tarot reader is hard work. Snake indicates enmity and calamities, the degree of which is governed by the distance from the card from the person. So there's no person in this spread right now. So we're kind of using the cards out of context too. Keep in mind that. The dog. Friendship. If it's near clouds, it means something else. Be aware of unsuspecting enemies. Represents true friendships. That's cool. And then the King of Clubs is the bear, sign of successful speculations. and then the shepherd. So this is very interesting. So it's like it's pointing towards me being a shepherd for these cards and for the readings, which yeah, that's kind of interesting. The bear has success. There's a sense of friendship in here. So as I get to devising a plan, I've got strength, success, and friendship pointing towards shepherd. So I wonder how that's going to work. Will I get will friendships be created through this video, perhaps? Maybe that's what it's trying to say to me right now. The anchor shows success. So as I'm carrying out the plan, I'm putting anchors into the ground to generate my success. I'm setting up anchor. And the railroad is a long journey, and that's totally correct. You know, this is doing any sort of content creation is long term. You can't release a video and have it get a lot of views, things like that. It's just not going to happen. The virality concept. I guess we'll get off topic with that, but I mean, it's sort of a. I think of it as a fallacy because it's not always true. You know, you can't predict what can go viral for whatever reason. It happens. People pay attention to certain things and they don't pay attention to other things, and it just happens the way it happens. So yeah, that's cool. Snake, yeah, there's always hidden enemies as you trot along your journey, and then there's whatever bad news is going to happen. But bad news always happens. There's always something going wrong in life. So that's not anything new. But that's cool. That's actually not too bad of a reading. So it seems like there is a lot of inherent success built up in the first part of it. That's narrowing down to someone who's leading, being a leader almost, a shepherd. You know, you're leading a pack of sheep, basically. In this. You're hurting people, controlling them in some way. Well, I guess maybe not controlling, but leading them. You know, you're not, as a shepherd, you're not dragging the sheep around. You're kind of gently pushing them in the right direction, so they're going on their own accord. You're just sort of helping influence that. So that's kind of interesting. So maybe that's what's in store for me. But I wonder how that turned out for you. As the viewer, and I hope that you were able to understand each card as it was, because I'm not 100% sure if you know. I guess you could pause and rewind and go back. So I don't know if I was able to capture every card for you to help you do that for yourself. But yeah, there it is. You could probably pause this and maybe I can zoom in a bit. No, that's not going to work. There we go. Ha! Real-time adjustment. Okay, so there we go. That was a pretty cool reading, but it seems like these cards really want to be read in their special way, which is, I think, is good. I think that's really cool because cards, you know, deserve their own system to be read in. So what else can we talk about? I wanted to talk about systems. Because already we kind of entered a world of unique systems through these other decks. How they're self-contained, yet they have similarities with these other systems here. So systems are always they tend to be if they're complete. They're usually inconsistent. They're not able to describe their own consistency. So yeah, I think that's where we were going to go. You know, dealing with Gödel's incompleteness theorem. I was able to read Gödel, Escher, Bach at the end of my degree, my Bachelor of Fine Arts degree. Sorry, I was struggling with that. And it made me think of the world in different ways in terms of systems. You know, I was studying music, but music itself is a system in that it is changing a lot, so it's growing. So to have a system that is complete, finite, it's not able to describe itself. It's basically inconsistent as far as, you know, if you were to do research on the theorems. I'll put those links in there as well too. That'll be interesting for you to research, and you know, maybe you can read the Gödel book by Douglas Hofstadter. That was quite a read, and that'll probably explain it better than how I'm describing it. But the idea goes is that a system itself, if it's incomplete, growing, changing, it is able to somewhat describe itself, you know, through self-reference and adding things into the system. But a system that is self-contained or complete, as the logic terms would say, it becomes unable to describe itself. So it's sort of it's limited. And so when I think of these fortune-telling systems using cards, and you may be thinking, well, why do you have so many decks? Can't you just use one tarot deck and just kind of go with that? And it makes me think, well, no. You know, if we jam on the incompleteness theorem, that kind of puts more weight into using multiple divinity systems. You know, different cards, other methods of casting divinity. You know, you can talk about, say, I Ching, the rune system. You know, dealing with the pendulum swinging. You know, those are other systems I'm not super familiar with. But when you consider that a complete system can't fully describe itself, then it makes you think, well, let's use more systems. So I guess it's sort of like an inspiration for me to expand and try different decks and not just stay with the same deck. But I know that can also be a disadvantage, because it means that maybe, you know, you won't master a particular deck. But I guess at the same time, it's just something of a trade-off, you know. And I'm very fortunate to be able to have access to all these other decks and be able to use them and experience them for their special value. But that's what that made me think about, and I was thinking of that today before I made the video, thinking, well, you know, these are all systems. They're individual. They have their own set of rules, because when you look at the meanings of these playing cards versus the meaning of what I wrote out for the playing cards, they're totally different. And in a way, they're sort of self-contained and they're separate. But as the reader, the tarot reader, you are also a system, so you're able to be incomplete and grow and change and incorporate all these other systems into your fortune-telling method. Because you are the instrument in a way of these fortune-telling devices. These are just cards. They're just tools, basically. So I guess the way I see it is the more tools, the better. And you know, if you're dedicated to lifelong learning or taking on hobbies in a very long-term way, then you're going to just grow with these cards anyway, and you will actually end up mastering a lot of the cards if you have a desire to experience more tarot decks. And that's something I encourage you to do as well, is experience more than one tarot deck. If you just have one tarot deck, unfortunately I would say that you're limited to that system, because, you know, again, if you kind of play off the Gödel incompleteness theorem or the Gödel book, it's that system is it's inconsistent. It can't describe itself. You would want to have it be incomplete or open-ended so that you can change and grow with it. So get more decks, experience more cards, see what differences there are with other tarot decks, because there are lots of differences. But there are also lots of similarities too, and that's the cool thing that we found out today, is that with these Gypsy Witch fortune-telling playing cards, we have a connection with these other two different card sets. You know, the imagery is very similar. The way of reading the cards is somewhat similar. Each of these systems use all of the cards at once. You're not just drawing out 3 cards at a time, 10 cards, 15, whatever. You're using all of the cards at once, which I think is very, very cool. And I think over time, once you experience and get practice with these types of cards, you get a better reading. You get a better understanding of what these cards are trying to tell you, and what the universal energies is helping you focus on, and what's being captured by the randomness of a card deck. You know, because these are all random elements. By shuffling the deck, you're putting your intention into the cards in a way, letting the universe kind of draw in and focus into the cards, and you know that's how your fortune kind of comes out, and that's how you can sort of look at this as a I guess in a more academic way, possibly. I'm not sure where I'm going with that. We're kind of off track already, which is okay. But yeah, looking at it from an academic point, I guess that's where I'm at least trying to go. Use intuition as well, but try to not take anything at face value. I definitely try to investigate things for myself as much as I can, and use all my personal experience to try and grasp whatever it is that's being presented here. And so this was great. I had a lot of fun with you on camera, playing with the Gypsy Witch fortune telling cards. I highly recommend them. If you can get these on Amazon, absolutely pick them up. I can't remember how much they were, but it's not quite the price, is it? That you'll get them if you get them. But if you're looking for an alternative to tarot, you know, this would be a great recommendation, along with these two other recommendations too, the Lenormand cards. You know, I'm sorry we didn't really get into these cards at all. This is just completely unexpected. I had no idea that there would be a relationship between them. But again, you know, I would easily recommend all three of these as sort of, I guess you could say, oracle type decks, meaning that it's an alternative to the tarot deck, meaning it's not a tarot deck. That's how you could classify that as if you wanted to. So these could be your oracle companions to a tarot deck, and you could use them in conjunction. Use your tarot deck and then use these other decks, different systems, combining systems to create maybe a more deeper understanding of what it is the universe could be telling you, capturing all these other indeterminacy methods is almost like filters and refining down your the message that's coming to you. Because I think just using one deck, to me it doesn't feel like it's gonna serve you as the reader very well in the long term. I feel that as someone who wants to dedicate themselves to tarot reading, you will need to get multiple decks at some point and experience other systems. Having playing cards would be probably the cheapest way to expand your methods of casting fortune, because they're easy to get. You know, you can get a deck of cards anywhere. Get them online for super cheap, as you know, you can probably see on Amazon. So that would be probably the easiest way to start. And then once you get comfortable with other systems and combining them with your tarot decks, then you start to really see interesting things happen. Because just as a side story, we got just a few minutes left, probably about 11 minutes left, is that I would use this deck, and then I would use this deck right after and sort of help clarify what I found in the Russian Gypsy cards. And it was so valuable. I would find that there'd be very much there'd be a lot of consistency in the messages that I would get, and if something didn't make sense, I found that it was clarified here in the Lenormand cards. And then I would do it in the opposite direction. I would do the Lenormand cards and then the Russian Gypsy cards. And so now I've got 3 different options to work with, because it seems like all the imagery taps into itself. So I've got this triangle of, if I can make a triangle, there we go. Anyways, so I've got this, I now have a 3-card filter system of tapping into a different form of fortune telling along with my tarot. And so this is extremely valuable, I see. And then yeah, what else can we talk about? I guess that's kind of it. Just the whole incompleteness idea, the Gödel jam, because that's quite the book. If you're able to find the Gödel Escher Bach by Douglas Hofstadter, that to me that was a game changer. Because I was studying philosophy at the end of my fine arts degree, and it's just the things you learn about. Really, I guess logic, is kind of really where you end up. Word patterns and patterns. But as I was studying music, music is a system in itself. So you start to see these parallels in other disciplines through that. So it was very worthwhile. So all that will be in the description. I guess I'll put all these cards in there as well. So you'll have a link to learn about Gödel's incompleteness theorem. All of these decks, the 3 decks here, the Gödel Escher Bach book, and then all the other products that went into making this video to kind of give you a pretty good estimate of what went into this video, I guess you could say, is, and that I guess pretty much covers everything that we talked about. Yeah, this was great. Again, thank you for being with me here. I wasn't sure what we were going to see within these cards, but wow, I'm sort of in awe of what was contained in these cards. I guess I'll put them away while I'm on camera. Still got a few minutes here. Just put the cards back where they came from. Okay, well, yeah, if you get the chance, subscribe to the channel. I don't know how that bell whistle thing works or how that plays into the notification system, but I think it'll help you notify your YouTube account when a new video comes out, because I am trying to stick to somewhat of a schedule, but again, it's not hardened. I will withhold content if it's not up to par, I guess you could say, or if I need to take more time with an idea. So it will be a little bit scattered, I guess. So there you go. Subscribe because I said so. Gypsy Witch Fortune Telling Playing Cards by U.S. Games. Unknown of the publication date. Difficult to say. This taps into a French tradition by the looks of it. It has a connection with the Lenormand cards, as well as it seems to have a connection with the Russian Gypsy cards as well too. And what a cool oracle system. It has its own special system for fortune telling. And there you have it. Distinctly different from playing card meanings that you can go check out. And I think we'll end it there. That's pretty much it. Again, thank you for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.